Hello friends and welcome to the channel. My name is Ryan Hebert and this is where I share my insights, and today I'm talking about the one who can be threatened loses his credibility. And we're going to talk about the importance of having credibility, integrity, and authenticity, especially when and if you are challenged. And this is standing on the principles of what you know to be true, which is very important in your formation and ultimately getting what you want. Stick around. I've been watching some interesting debates on YouTube lately between those who believe in God and those who do not believe in God. And it's an interesting thing to watch, because those debates exemplify duality, that the theologian and the atheist are lovers. Implicit, that they make each other, they prop each other up. That an atheist has no leg to stand on without a believer. And likewise, a believer has no leg to stand on without a challenger. But it's a wonderful completeness, and it's a wonderful thing to see. But what I find really interesting in some of those debates, and I would not want to get involved with it, because it would be a real test to see if you get involved in some kind of challenge like that, if you would lose your shit. And it's really interesting, because the people that lose their shit first are the people that believe in religion and believe in God. If you take Richard Dawkins, for example, who I love. I have fallen in love with him. I've read his books and they're just fantastic. They read like a fairy tale. His book about the universe and things like that, they're just so intriguing and interesting. And he's very passionate about science and reason and logic, and as I think he should be. But what's interesting is when he gets on a panel with someone from the Muslim faith or a Christian or something like that. I saw one where he was talking to an Islamic interviewer. And the Islamic interviewer, all you have to do is watch it for about 5 minutes, and you see which one is attacking the other. The religious. The religious are so insecure in their beliefs that the only way that they can seem to get their message across is with a low form of reactionary violence. And I find it interesting in that interview that Dawkins sits back with his chest open. And the interviewer is sitting up tall, sort of getting in his face, like Jordan Peterson, kind of very provocative. And the more the religious person goes at it, the more loving and compassionate and with it Dawkins becomes. So what he's learned to do is to be like Jesus. Dawkins has learned to do what Jesus is trying to teach the Christians who don't seem to get it, because they still resort to violence to get their message out. And he exhibits listening and attentiveness. And so if you look at the body, it's flaccid. There's some flaccidity in it. I know we use the word flaccid to describe a penis, but this is what this is. It's male and female fitting together beautifully. The atheist and the theologian fitting together beautifully. They're each giving each other identity, which is neat. And that's how the universe works. It's dual. It's relative. But I find it very interesting how Dawkins stands on evidence and science and reason and what's true. I mean, he's a champion of truth in so much that he would probably crawl up on a cross and die for it. That he is so passionate about teaching truth that he would lose his life over it. But he wouldn't fight back. But he also wouldn't deny it, right? And the first person to deny what they are saying is true by becoming violent are the religious people, which makes me laugh. Because if their belief in God was so secure, why are they so insecure and paranoid about a challenge to their faith? Seems as though if your faith is getting challenged, good. Demonstrate love when that happens. There's another interview where Dawkins is in front of a Mormon, and he basically says the Book of Mormon is nonsense. And you can see the guy I take such offense to that. It becomes so, the ego is inflamed immediately in the religious. They take offense. And Richard Dawkins never takes offense. And another one who's really, really good at this is Sam Harris. Sam Harris sits there like, just, you can't threaten me. And in the Course of Miracles, the first thing it says is anything that can be threatened is not real. And these religious people get threatened. And they lose their credibility immediately. Just like that. And that is the secret. If you are challenged, and you will be, if you really believed in yourself or the things you think are true, you wouldn't have to react violently about it. You would know that you know. My friend Debbie says, I just know that I know that I know. Those of us who are teaching faith, which is what I'm doing, teaching faith in yourself. I'm talking about self-reliance, which is the same thing as what Jesus was saying, constantly telling you to pay attention to yourself. He used language like God and Father and stuff. That's where I kind of like, all right. He was talking about himself when he said, I and the Father are one. He's just talking about an integration of himself, faith in himself. And we've turned him into a God, a conceptual God. And that makes people insecure because you can challenge that so easily. But if your faith can be challenged so easily and you waver like that, you become insecure and egoic and a child, and you try to shut up the opponent. You know? Whereas credibility is no threat. You are not a threat to me if you challenge me. I do not take offense because I know how impersonal the universe is. I know how insignificant the individual is. How do I know that? It's in something called faith. I know that I have no free will. I know that the universe is successful. I know that the universe has dualistic properties. Therefore, I have dualistic properties. So I'm in relationship with everything. I have a relationship with myself in some way. I have a relationship with the outside world. I have a relationship with other. But there is something that opens in you, and you realize, okay, the individual is an illusion. Sam Harris himself, go watch him. Professed atheist, says free will is an illusion. The individual self is not real. There it is. If it can be threatened, it's not real. So your ego gets real threatened when somebody challenges you. And the name of the game in credibility is, how convinced are you that you're real
as a person, as an individual. I'm just not convinced that I'm real as an individual. That's why I'm not threatenable, because I'm not real. In that sense, I am the same in the way that the theologian and the atheist love each other. There's a wonderful, wonderful Jordan Peterson and Richard Dawkins get into it. And I feel like as they go at it, they're going to rip each other's clothes off and screw each other's brains out. It's amazing. The heat and intensity of it, of their passion, is the same. They would both die on a cross for what they believe. So does everybody else, you see. But some people are like, kind of like wishy-washy. Either you have faith in yourself, you're convinced of yourself, you're convinced of something. I'm convinced. This is what I'm convinced of. Love is the answer. And at some level, even Darwinists would admit that libido is the reason why we procreate is because there's an instinct to be horny, right? That's basically what it is. It's biological. But I think that is preceded by love, an instinct to bond. So the physical male and female bond in a physical way. But that is to show that love is whole. Darwin had like 12 kids, and he did talk about love as the foundation to evolution. I don't believe I'm here because my dad got horny one night from my mother. I can't. To me, a better explanation is that they loved each other. They did, and they still do. And that's the reason why I'm here. And if that's the reason why I'm here, that's the reason why the universe was here. Unless you were conceived by some kind of forceful act, then maybe you see something different. Maybe you see the universe raped itself, violated itself, and now we're here. But it allows for that. It allows for that. But deep down inside, I feel love. Love is the preeminence of the universe and what's responsible for it, and ultimately where we're headed to. Even in suffering. Suffering is a form of love in the same way as we go to the gym, put ourselves through suffering for the benefit of it. The benefit of suffering, the benefit of trial, the benefit of obstacle, the benefit of the doubt. Why would doubt have benefit? And the benefit of the doubt is faith. And the two go together and prop each other up. But the religious people are the first ones to doubt. They're the first ones to run away from their faith by challenging and attacking the opponent, rather than loving the opponent, rather than making light of the opponent, rather than listening to the opponent and engaging in a loving conversation that doesn't interrupt, that doesn't take offense, that is impersonal. Yes, the universe is impersonal, but it's also intimate. It's subtle. And it's impersonal in that there's no me, like little I, Ryan. No. It's impersonal that everybody is the I. So, you'll lose your credibility if you lose your shit when you're challenged. Nobody will take you seriously. Nobody will give you what you want. If all you do is attack, you will kind of get what you want. But you will have all this collateral damage. People don't want to be around you. Nobody's going to want to play with you, so to speak. So the religious people are isolating themselves in the world by attacking, rather than trying to integrate themselves into the world and deliver their message subtly, lovingly, passionately. The atheists are passionate about science, reason, logic. Me too. I'm passionate about myself and the universe and the things that I can learn through my own mind and the universe at large. I'm teaching faith in self, capital S. The self that you are, the self that I am is the same. I'm trying to show universality through reason and paying attention to your gut connection to the substructure of love. What good would that do? I tell you what, it makes things a whole hell of a lot easier. But at first, it's going to be weird for you to not take offense. But to breathe when you hear something offensive. When something seems to attack you, do not take offense. Taxes, aging, bills, traffic. Start with the small stuff and don't lose your shit or you'll lose your credibility. As challenges come, you become like those atheists, Sam Harris and those bits. It's just exposed torso, listening, no aggression, nothing to prove, but a demonstration of love. Your opponents will come, your challenges, your critics, everything. And if you don't dodge the bullets by bracing yourself, you allow them to pass right through. And you'll have more credibility, more substance, more energy. My name is Ryan Hebert. If you enjoyed these insights, please check out my blog. It's called mymorningmotivator.com. And we'll see you next time.